Life Audio.
Welcome to the Crosswalk Devotional. We're glad to have you listening with us. Today's topic is why praising God welcomes God's power into your life. We'll return with the devotional after a brief message from our sponsors. Praise welcomes God's power into your life. Written and read by Whitney Hopler. About midnight, Paul and Silas were praying and singing hymns to God, and the other prisoners were listening to them. Suddenly, there was such a violent earthquake that the foundations of the prison were shaken. At once, all the prison doors flew open, and everyone's chains came loose. Acts 16:25-26. I was struggling to sleep because of persistent pain from an injury. No matter how hard I tried to find a comfortable position to go to sleep, I couldn't find any way to escape the pain or relax enough to sleep. Frustrated, I glanced at a nearby clock. It was already close to midnight, and I still didn't know how much longer it would take me to go to sleep. Rather than ruminate on my problem any longer, I got up out of bed and did something I knew would always help me somehow. I sang a worship song to God. Even though I was singing softly to avoid waking up my husband, it didn't take long to feel a powerful sense of peace wash over me. God was with me, even in my pain. I kept singing, and by the time I was done, my pain didn't seem as distracting as before. Finally, I was able to drift off to sleep. There's something powerful about praise. It lifts our perspective beyond our problems and to the all-powerful God who can help us solve them. When Paul and Silas found themselves in prison, they could have chosen to give in to despair or to question why God allowed them to endure such suffering. Instead, they lifted their voices in prayer and praise to God. Their decision to worship in the middle of suffering may seem surprising, but the miracle that happened when they did shows us that praise opens the door to God's power. In their darkest hour, at midnight, Paul and Silas began to sing hymns to God. The prison, which was often a place of defeat and silence, became a place of worship. As their praises rose, God's power descended. The Bible passage tells us that suddenly there was an earthquake so violent that even the foundations of the prison were shaken. The result was that not only were Paul and Silas freed, but every prisoner in that place was unshackled. Praise brought liberation to everyone around them. When we praise, we shift our focus from ourselves and our problems to God. Praise acknowledges God's greatness and faithfulness, no matter what challenges we're facing. By praising God in difficult times, we invite God into our circumstances. That is when transformation happens. The prison couldn't contain Paul and Silas because the power of God was greater than their chains. When we choose to praise God, despite how impossible or painful our circumstances may seem, we're acknowledging that God's power is greater than anything we face. We're inviting God to step into our situation, trusting that God is more than able to deliver us. Praise also acts as a weapon of faith in spiritual warfare. Just as it broke open the prison doors for Paul and Silas, praise has the power to break down spiritual strongholds. Evil wants to keep us imprisoned in fear, doubt, and despair. But when we lift up praise, we declare that God is in control, no matter how hopeless our situation may appear. Praise declares victory before it's even visible. That welcomes God's light into the darkness, dispelling it. When we lift our voices in worship, we're welcoming God's power to shake the foundations of whatever holds us captive. Chains will fall, doors will open, and freedom will come when we praise God. So whatever you're facing today, choose to praise. Trust that as you lift your voice to God, God will work powerfully in your life. The same power that set Paul and Silas free is available to you. Praise welcomes God's power into your life, and nothing can stand against it. Intersecting faith and life. As you consider the power of praise, reflect on these questions. When you think about the circumstances Paul and Silas were in, what surprises you most about their decision to praise God in that moment? How does praising God in difficult times shift your perspective? Have you experienced a moment where praise helped you feel God's presence with you? How did it affect you? In what areas of your life do you feel imprisoned right now? And how can you begin to use praise as a way to invite God's power into those situations? Further reading. Psalm 22:3, 2 Chronicles 20:22, Psalm 34:1, Isaiah 61:3, Hebrews 13:15.
The Crosswalk Devotional is a production of Life Audio and Salem Media. If you liked what you heard today, please take a second to rate and review this podcast in your favorite podcast app so that more listeners like you can find the show. For more faith-filled, inspirational podcasts, visit us at lifeaudio.com.